Yes, thank you. Yes, good evening to you all. I'm Thomas Zabun, Fisheries Officer from this local government. So today it's not about CVs, but it's about some kind of advice to those who have just come out of school and how to better up their life in this career world. So basically, I'll have reference from a certain conference, and maybe I'll try to read out some of the names and what they shared, and maybe expand more according to my personal experience, also other people's experience, and some advice, such that we try not to make the same mistakes, or another person may watch this video may try not to make the same mistakes. So basically, this was about the conference providing career guidance to students who are, and this fits those who have just completed campus, those are yet to complete campus, and those who are already in campus. The first reference I'll give to the first speaker, who was called Brian Rake, who described his kind of experience moving from job to job, and then he began by knocking to doors right away from school, and eventually found work. And but the job hunt wasn't perfect, and neither was he, and he was fired only after 2 years. And this experience taught him a couple of things. One, that a job is not marriage. Yeah, it's not like for better for worse. If at all it's not working out for you, just quit the job, just move on. In area discussions, I always told you people that if I told you to choose between one job and another, first consider 3 things. 1, the salary. 2, we have the salary, the working conditions. Then 3, we have the benefits you get. So the salary might be high, but the working conditions are so poor that you can't even enjoy the salary, whereby you are working overtime, the bosses are so rude, you're working in a harsh environment. Yeah. Then the third thing about the benefits, it's really a lot, because basically, talk about the benefits. Are you given transport? Are you given the feeding? Are you given the accommodation? Are you given some medical insurance? Get the point, eh? So some of you, most cases, look at the salary, because I gave an example for a man. Some gentleman approached me. He was assistant manager somewhere, and then he was called for a manager position, and he called me, said, how can I negotiate this contract, because I've been called, I've negotiated. I told him 3 things. They were offering 3 million. Yeah, I advised him that if I told them to offer 3 million, you ask for transport, a car, a driver, you ask for the maintenance of that car and the fuel, because the project manager. And then I said, if they can't give you 3 million, you ask for 5 million without all those benefits. But then I told him that you rather go with the 3 million with those benefits. Why? They might give you 5 million as salary, and all the other, let me say, the transport, because you have to go to the field, you have to cater for your transportation, accommodation, and everything on that 5 million. So I told him, while choosing a job, make sure that, or negotiate a contract, anything, look at the working conditions, the benefits, and the salary. So I advise members, you rather take a little salary more than the other one, when at least some of the things you need in order to perfect your work are catered for. Like some people go for the medical field jobs. One may say, we are paying you 500,000, but then we shall not give you lunch, we shall not give you accommodation, we shall not give you medication. Then another job will be paying you, say, 300,000, and they will be giving you lunch, accommodation, transport, and everything. Yeah. So you may look at the 300 lesser than the 500,000, but recall, if I told you to go for that job of 500,000, you are expected at work the right time, feeding is on you, medication is on you, and also transport is on you, and accommodation is on you. So 500,000, you might find in that area, when the least single room is around 200,000, it's already off. You have to feed every day, you have to transport yourself every day. So that's the first advice. When you're choosing a job, look at the salary, 2, the working environment, 3, and the benefits. So working environment may say, okay, the office, the kind of work, the kind of people you're working with, maybe also the time frame. How many days are you working in a week? From what time to what time? Then are there any benefits for employees? Are there any leaves? You get the point, eh? So back to the statement, this Mr. Brian Rake said, job is not a marriage. It's not for better, for worse. So basically, if at all the job is not doing you well, better leave. Mental health is better for you. God can find you another job. Then says, treat your time as an investment. It's more important to invest your time wisely than to invest your money wisely. Some of you are spent in a job for over many years, just because you have been tied up there. You don't know, you don't think out of the box. You are an accountant of a school for many years. What does this mean? This means that you won't have greener pastures. You won't go somewhere. You won't test new fields whereby you may get other benefits. You won't have career growth. Remember, even those employees are looking for someone who's having career growth, and they will like to take them up. And he continues with his speech saying that later in his life, Brian found himself working in a job he doesn't like. He made a promise to himself, quotes, I told myself that if I wasn't happy with my job 1 year from day one, I would leave. So it can be your principle. If you're not happy in the job, you can leave. And remember, as you are at that job, try to look for opportunities elsewhere. Then said that was the best decision I've ever done. And after a year, I knew it was time to go. It was more important for me to be happy than to chase dollars. Then he shared 2 life lessons for that when he made decisions to go to leave that job. One is that the people you work with are more important than the company. You want to work with people who have high integrity, people you can trust. It's nice to work for a great company, but it's better to work with great people. So as you are working, you should make that kind of relationship whereby the people can support you. That's why I told about the working environment. It might be a great company, but the working environment is so poor that you get stressed. There's a lot of pressure. There are goals you have to achieve, the targets, and sometimes it can keep you away from your friends and company, your family and the like. So the people you work with are more important than the company. Remember, these people are transferred. You can find them elsewhere. So it's better you work with good people whom you can trust and have a high level of integrity. Then I also shared another lesson that don't rationalize your decisions. As you move through your career, don't stay in situations that make you unhappy just because you think you're obliged. Take some calculated risks. Some of you are working somewhere and things are not going on well because you don't have anywhere you should go. You should start job seeking. You should start job seeking so that you know that I have to leave this place. Remember, your health is better than what you give to the company. Then still at that same conference, another speaker was Ron Clark, who was a Portland lawyer, and shared 3 major points. 1, what you studied in school does not matter. So students should major in subjects they enjoy. They should pursue learning. One of Ron's colleagues is a brilliant lawyer who has a degree in music. He knows a judge with a degree in pharmacology. So your degree does not matter. Because basically, some of you went study these degrees when it wasn't your passion, just because money was there to sponsor that degree, or it was about pressure, or your family, your parents wanted you to go that degree. But most cases, when you go to where you haven't studied the degree and you go to that job field that you really don't like, most cases you don't get out of the box. You don't strive for the best. You don't work so hard. You don't get promotions because you don't provide the best. I myself, I wanted to be a doctor, but unfortunately, fortunately, I became a fisheries. I went to the fisheries scientist. So as studying, I hated that degree. But basically, when it reached to second year, I had to accept the fact that there's no going back. I have to do this degree. I have to go on. And that's when I started to visit these organizations like NARO, yeah, passing by the Ministry of Agriculture, because I had that passion. By the time I left campus, I had a good network. That's why in my I am a fisheries officer, I'm a researcher, I'm a consultant, because of the network I built years back when I was like at campus, because I just loved this degree. I said, let me just love this degree and go back and study it and go further. So basically, you should love what you study. If you don't want it, go to where your passion is. Then I shared a second point, that self-discipline is the common denominator among the successful. In order to get into college, and to earn a degree, one must exercise detailed gratification. This does not end after school. Delayed gratification and self-discipline are necessary for a continued success in life. You know how we were at campus, you had to read for the papers, for the tests, yeah? You had to go for lectures, didn't miss out on lectures. You had to go for those, to do revisions, you had to go for group work and the like. So also in this world, when you're job seeking, you shouldn't lose track. And some of you should learn, some of you don't know how to do online applications. You should learn them, because you went to campus and they were given coursework and you had to search for them. Some of you don't know how to write a CV, don't know how to write a resume, don't know what is an application letter, a cover letter, a motivation letter, yeah, a personal statement. You should be in the know of that, because some of you miss out on jobs because when you see the procedure, what you should be writing, you don't know, and you say, no, I don't know how to use an email, I don't know how to answer this, I don't know how to fill in this, yeah. You see they require you to do an aptitude test, I don't know how to do the aptitude test. The same determination you had as you are studying that degree should be the same as you are done with that degree, so that you get some you get the best out of it. Then the third party shared, building into do drunk work. By doing the entry jobs, you are building skills necessary to move up. As you progress in your career, find things in each job that to be passionate about. Some of you don't want to go for this entry jobs level because they pay less, there are no benefits, the working conditions are not. I can share my story. From campus, I tried out one job at a fish farm, and we didn't go in good terms with the manager. He was not paying. Then after that, I went for a certain company, fish processing company. They were paying less money, 8,000 per day. 8,000 per day. But surprising, I tried to look at, because basically in the fish processing, we have fish processing technologies, and we have also fish quality assurance and control. So I said that, okay, they may be paying me less, it's an entry job, but then let me get this, I'll use them in the future. Surprising, when I was talking to my managers, I wanted to go to the lab to learn water chemistry, biochemistry, microbiology, yeah, the laboratory procedures, the HACCP, and also the controls along the line of processing. So one of the managers was like, but you man, the way you want to learn everything is like you want to leave us, because basically I wanted to use that. Remember, before applying for that job, I attended an interview of a bigger company, bigger than this one, and I failed. They asked about HACCP, they asked about the controls, quality controls. I failed because I had learned them in class, but then I couldn't answer before the interview. But surprise, what I did, I went for the art job that was lesser than that. I learned all. Because this one was open, I was taken in. I learned everything. It was paying less, needed a diploma, I was of a degree holder. But surprising, I worked there for 1.5 months. Then I wrote this company that rejected me because of the interview, that I'm working here as a quality controller, I have this. Immediately between 2 hours, I was called, and they interviewed me on TV, on phone. What are you doing? What do you do? What is this? And I answered. They said, okay, are you available on this date? We can negotiate. I went there and negotiated, and I went to that company that was paid a little bit better. So basically, let us accept to go for these entry jobs, and don't think about the money. Think about the experience and the things that you're going to do, and then you should get something that you're passionate about. The fish processing and quality control, and when it comes fish processing and quality control, the fisheries technologies, I used them further in life. At my second degree, I passed very well when it came to the people of fish quality control and fish processing. I got later on to examine students in that same field, but then where did I get the experience from? Where I was paid less. So you should get that point. The third speaker, who was Celia Kimbra, who's a professional photographer, reveals her story. As a single mother, Celia applied for the interpreting program at Western Oregon University. She was one of the 72 applicants for 16 spots. She didn't get in. She didn't let it bother her. Her quote, I've failed at a lot of things in life, she says, but they have made me who I am today. It's okay to fail. The important thing is to be working towards something and to have a goal. So basically, we have made a lot of applications, but most cases, sometimes the employees may give you feedback of what is making you fail. Yeah. So basically, keep on applying. Later on, you realize that, like me, I look at what I used to write 5 years back and what I write right now in the application later. I realized that I was writing nonsense. It was not satisfactory. So the more you keep on applying, the more you become better on how you should apply. You find new challenges because some place will tell you how to should be writing, and you go on becoming good and good and good and good, better and better and better and better. So the better you keep applying, and you keep following what they tell you to apply. She continues to say, still, you should always keep your mind open for other opportunities. Can I give an example? I applied for fisheries officer at MAIF, at the ministry. It's the kind of job I thought about. I was like, no, I should be a fisheries officer, I should be a fisheries inspector. But surprising, most cases when you're applying and you put all your hope in that job, if you don't get that job, you get broken. Sometimes you look at your credentials, your papers, your experience, you're like, if they don't give me this job, that means they have given it to another person who was injecting some money. But most cases, if at all you don't have that in mind that this is my job, even if I don't get it, sometimes it gives you room to keep your mind open to other options. If you miss out on several jobs that you feel that they are yours, sometimes you feel like I'm done with applying. If they haven't given you this job, don't apply. But you should always keep your mind open. Don't be so locked into your goal that you miss opportunity knocking the door. Sometimes life will lead you in directions you don't expect. When she didn't get into when she did not get into the interpreting program, Cecilia pursued a degree in natural resources. She wanted to be a teacher, but then life led her into another direction. Now she owns a successful photography studio. You get the point, eh? So you shouldn't be static. If at all it has failed in journalism, it has failed in this, try something else and read what do they require for me to do this. We have colleagues who are doing who are chefs, but they did BBA, yeah, Bachelors of Business Administration, but they found no, in the things of the chef world, they get some good money. They had to go back and do certificates, and now they are doing well. Then you have to go to find your passion. Cyril says, I've changed my 6 majors. That's okay. Everything you do leads to you to the person you are becoming. As long as you have some goals, you'll be fine. So have some goals. You can change the career, but then you're having some goals. My goal is to be here and there. My goal is to have money to this or that. Cyril stressed that it's important to think about the sort of life you want to live. I can give an example. Some of you have done social work and you want to work in Kampala. But most of the NGOs that provide these social work opportunities, they are in Karamoja, they are in northern Uganda, they are in settlements, they are in refugee settlements, they are in Bondibujo, they are... So, when you are talking about your career, that's why some of you miss out on these opportunities. You see a job that is in Karamoja, you're like, but you're a social worker. There are no jobs for you in Kampala. Yeah? You're a field worker into agriculture, but then you don't want to go to the field. That's why they say that you should... it's important to think about the sort of life you want to live in. Now, these medical practitioners, why should you go for a medical field when you know that you cannot work overtime? Because sometimes the nurses, the midwives also, you can work transnight. Yeah, you work on weekends. So if I told you, no, this is the career you should go for, make sure that this is the kind of life you want to go for. Then she continues to say that some of what she said reminded me of Tim Ferriss' notion of life's design, building your life and career around what you do or what you want to do. So you should build your life and career around what you should do, what you want to do. Entrepreneurship has allowed her to construct a fulfilling life. So make sure that you bring some bit of entrepreneur in your work. Yeah. Those in accounting, you can start giving consultants in how to, let me say, practical skills in QuickBooks, in Excel, and bit of it. So you bring some money into you, yeah, to you. What's important to you? She asks the students. Make choices based on that. I wanted to be excited about what I do every day. If you are complaining about what you are doing, then try something else. So if at all you don't like your job, you don't like your career, try something else and try to know that what is needed here, and then I should get this to get there. Then another speaker was J.D. Roth, who concluded the program. Was like, I gave a short presentation on personal finance. Again, this was the first such talk I've given, and it was pretty rough. I actually tried to straight some of the topics of Get Rich Slowly readers suggested last Monday. So she said, develop a basic budget. It doesn't have to be fancy. Whatever you choose to do, make it a goal to set aside 20% for savings and investing. This sounds like a lot, but if you can start the habit young, it will be easier and will yield greater returns in the long run. I'll give an example. Back then when I was working for 8,000 per day, I used to save 5,000. What I used to do, I used to go to work and I had to have a heavy lunch. I made sure that I had a heavy lunch so that when it comes to the night supper, I take something less so that I don't consume the whole 8,000. But surprisingly, what was the 8,000 for? The 5,000 I used to save. I had some goals. I was like, now I have to buy curtains because I was from campus. I had to buy curtains. I had to buy a Go TV. I didn't have it. I had to buy some maybe some things in my car room. So basically, that way, you see, you have some goals you have made. Because some of you have worked for over years, but if I may ask you, what have you done in that? There's nothing. Because you don't have that culture of saving. Just because you think that I am earning less, I can't save anything. But surprisingly, these things I bought, when I went to a higher paying job, yeah, I didn't have to buy these things again. Because at every stage I used to save. So, another thing she gave, avoid lifestyle inflation. As your income increases, it's tempting to increase your spending in proportion. The more you can resist this urge, the more successful you will be with money. So basically, as we do our career, sometimes you say, I've had a pay rise, let me increase my expenditure, the lunch and everything. Most cases, you will realize that you're not growing. You have been given a salary enhancement, but then you don't see where it's going. So basically, if at all you are still at the junior level getting 1 million, then you went to the senior level, you got 2 million, you are 2 million. Let your expenditure be the same as you are having 1 million, such that you can have some career goals. Yeah, some growth. You're like, now I need to do CPA. I've been given this. Instead of spending it, let me invest it in doing a CPA, so that after this position, I can apply to another workplace which gives me thrice this. But some of you, when you are given salary enhancement, you spend it in drinking, spend it in luxury stuff. You can invest in a side hustle. You can have something for yourself. Okay, buy land. So that by the time you go to another job, you don't have to spend on that. Then said, do what you love. I already talked about it. A low-paying job that leads to future prospects in career you like is better than a high-paying job in a career that does not move you in the right direction. Some of you have done finance, but then you are applying for jobs of customer service. You reach a time when there's no going up, there's no promotion. You'll be on the same salary till end. That's why I advise Guys, you should rather go for a low paying job in your career, in your field, so that you keep on growing. Because just a patience of 2 years, you'll be there. But some of you are like, oh, no, let me go for this job, it's paying highly. If it's not in my career, you reach a time whereby you are stuck. You can't be promoted. The reason that you don't have the papers. You can't be promoted. You have the experience, you don't have the papers. Why? That is not your field. The people you're working with, they have the papers. They are growing, but you cannot grow. The reason that is not your field. And by the time you realize that you're not growing, then you have to go back to your field. You realize that you cannot work for that money. For the entry level, then you start growing. So it's better you go for that low paying job, but then when you're in your field. I continue to say that never stick with a shitty job. It's easier to change jobs now than to be in 5 years or 10 years. So those who have just new in the career, it's better to change jobs right now than years in the career. You are in the field where you are not supposed to be. Yeah? You're trying to add up things. You're on 2 job training, but then that is not your field. It's better to change right now and go into your challenge, to your career path, whereby you can appreciate the little resources that are given you and the benefits and the like as you grow, because you can see yourself in 5 years' time. But those who are going into careers that are not theirs, in most cases you find yourself stuck, and you find someone is like, I'm here, they're not giving me promotion, other people are promoted, but do you have what is needed? No, because you're in the wrong place. You are there, you are in that place because your uncle put you there, because they needed someone to work, they didn't have someone who's qualified, and you are trained. Then the last is that the less you spend, the more flexible you have. When I graduated, I bought a new car and developed credit card debt. Had to take another job I could find because I was tied to monthly payments. When my friend Spark graduated, he had a lot of freedom. His days were minimal. He traveled to the US taking whatever job struck his fancy. He spent time in Mexico. He spent 5 months traveling South Asia. He was able to do things because he didn't have expense obligations. So here is it. Some of you, after getting some little money, you want to buy cars, you want to do things on debt. Banang. Ask yourself, do I need this car? Do I need this kind of house? Do I need this? Because basically you may spend most of your career paying for what you don't need. Yeah? Some of you, if at all there is a company car, why should you buy a car? You rather invest your money elsewhere. That's why sometimes you people, you feel that you have worked for years, but then you don't see where your money is going. You want to work, there's a time you should reach and you're like, I'm tired. At this time I should get out of employment, being employed, and start new ventures and start my own businesses. So those who buy things on credit, then you have to pay a long time. Some of you take salary loans. I myself am a Muslim. In my faith, I don't take loans with benefits. But realize that some people have salary loans, and by the time a plot of land, a plot of land is 20 million. They will just get a salary loan. By the time they pay the salary loan, they have paid around 40 million. What's the value of that? So basically, some of you make that's why some of you have salary loans. By the time your salary comes, like half of it is taken, and then you get stressed and you be like, what am I working on? I have this job, I'm big in this company, but then the money is not shown on me. So guys, and that's the advice I can give for those who are out of campus, and also those who have just joined, and those who are already out of campus. Maybe you can take these insights. But my last message is that when you're choosing a job, think about the salary, the benefits, and the working conditions. Thank you. Don't forget to subscribe and share.